It's taking a bit of a knock in today's trading session on the back of reporting disappointing Q1 earnings. Rukmini Rao caught up with the management and began by asking them about the slowdown in the overall environment and also the IT as well as in the discretionary spends.
I do see the macro environment as being challenging. Obviously, there is the Brexit which has happened, which has impacted Europe a lot, while other environmental conditions are making people a little cautious. But I don't see a slowdown in terms of overall demand scenario itself. I see the demand scenario as being quite optimistic. Yes, there is caution in the short term, but overall for the year, I would still believe that the demand environment is fairly strong, which is why we are very confident that for Mindtree, it is going to be a little back-ended on growth, which I presume is equally true for the industry itself. I don't think there are any structural factors which are really impacting demand.
Sure. Roster, want to understand from you all the numbers that came out, of course, quite below the street expectation. You know, the slowdown and what we saw this quarter, is this likely to fall out in Q2 as well? What went wrong during the quarter that has gone by?
I would say a little bit of it could be because the street had no way to analyze impact, for example, of the Ind AS transition. This is the first quarter. Everybody is obviously grappling with it. And like you have seen so far, different companies have been affected in different ways. So I think a little bit of the gap compared to expectations could have just been that some of the assumptions are evolving there. From our point of view, I think the only I would say news that came true during the course of the quarter, meaning that we did not anticipate in the beginning of the quarter, was the sharp reduction in revenue in the SAP HANA business that we bought in the UK, and consequently, obviously, that business swung from a profit to a loss. So slowdown in revenue of a relatively small business immediately obviously pushes into a loss. So that probably was the only piece which was, in a sense, new news. Like we explained in the beginning of the quarter, we did say that this year will see volatility between quarters. However, the year as a whole continues to be strong. Like we have done in the last 3 or 4 years, this year also we will execute, to deliver higher growth than the industry.
Jagan, if you can also elaborate on, what impacted the margins, and also if you can give us a sense of what is happening on the price realization front and also the volume growth.
Yeah, margin for the quarter had an impact of visa fees, which had about 1% impact. And the operational parameters had some 80 basis point impact in our profitability. Currency had 20 basis point impact on our profitability. This 80 basis point is mainly because of profitability of Bluefin, where revenue drop could not observe the cost, so they ended up in reporting a loss for this quarter. But we see this is a temporary phenomenon. With the revenue growth coming back in Bluefin, they will be able to get back to the profitability levels in the next quarter. Next quarter, we have a salary increase coming in for all Mindtree mines, which will have about 2% impact in our margin. But visa fees will not be there, which will benefit us by about 1%. We will focus on improvement of profitability with the acquired entities and also the operational parameters, which will help, which we are confident of holding the margin at the current level for next quarter.
Roster, if you can give us a sense of what the deal pipeline is looking for the next quarters, and in terms of the revenue ramp-ups, how is that looking like for the coming 2 quarters?
Overall, the deal pipeline looks very, very positive. Lots of contracts are coming in, lots of opportunities, lots of proposals, both within existing customers as well as new customers. Relatively less worried about that. I think the more of the challenges, given like we spoke about the environment-related issues, people are not deciding as fast enough. Sometimes they, say yes to our project, but they start much slower. Those are the kind of things that we are seeing as an outcome of the uncertainty. It's not the quality of the pipeline or the size of the pipeline. It's the velocity that's sort of closure and ramp-ups. That's what is worrying us at the moment.
Also, in terms of your own margin outlook, are you maintaining what you said would be the bandwidth at which Mindtree would be operating at, or do you see that margins going ahead could be a little softer?
No, going ahead, the margin will not be softer. It will improve in the coming quarters, actually. In Q2, it will be at the same level what we had reported in Q1. I'm not considering the currency impact on the margin. However, from Q3 and Q4, we see substantial improvement in the profitability, which will help us to improve our profitability overall for the year.
All right, then that's management of Mindtree. The stock is under pressure. Remember, revenue growth was only around dollar revenue growth, only around 2%. The street was estimating a number of around 3 to around 3%. It even missed those low estimates. The margins as well got compressed by around 200 basis points. And though the management is sounding quite confident, I think the street is not taking too much heart from those factors.